Hello and welcome to Crossfire, the show that dives into the heart of global conflicts, where nations collide, alliances shift, and lives hang in the balance. Tonight we tell you about a troubling new twist in the Russia-Ukraine war, as Moscow is now using a dangerous tactic to lure in soldiers from foreign countries to the battlefield. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to lose ground, as reports suggest that Russian forces are steadily making gains in the eastern front. We're witnessing a significant escalation in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Russian forces are advancing at a rapid rate, making their largest territorial gains in the war since the early days of the invasion in 2022. In the past month alone, Russia has seized an area roughly half the size of Greater London, and analysts warn that the conflict may be entering its most dangerous phase yet. But has Kyiv lost all momentum to control the Russian aggression?
The war in Ukraine has entered a potentially perilous new phase. Russian forces have made rapid advances in the east of the country, capturing more territory in the last month than at any point since the early days of the invasion. In fact, analysts say Russia has seized an area about half the size of Greater London in just the past few weeks. Russian forces are not only gaining significant ground, but they are also achieving new records for territorial expansion. According to reports from Russia's news agencies, Moscow's forces captured nearly 235 square kilometers of land last week alone. This marks a record for 2024. In total, Russia has taken over 600 square kilometers in November, an alarming surge in their offensive. The rapid advancement marks a significant shift in the war's trajectory. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War note that Russian forces are moving faster now than at any point in 2023. The focus of their push is now on the southeastern front, with troops advancing towards the strategic town of Kurakhove in Donetsk. If captured, Kurakhove could open the way for a larger Russian offensive towards the logistical hub of Pokrovsk, a crucial area for Ukrainian forces. The situation on the front lines is tense. According to Ukraine's general staff, around 45 active battles are underway in the Kurakhove region. Russian forces have been exploiting vulnerabilities in Ukraine's defensive lines, making significant territorial gains over the last few months. Despite being outnumbered, Ukraine's military is holding its ground, although there are growing challenges. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has made it clear that peace is not possible until Russian forces are fully expelled. However, the Ukrainian military is struggling to recruit new soldiers and equip them adequately, making the task of defending the territory even more difficult. The war is at a critical juncture. With Donald Trump's re-election as the leading NATO power, questions loom over the future of US military aid to Ukraine. Trump has indicated a potential shift in their US policy, promising a swift end to the conflict. Although his stance on Russian President Vladimir Putin remains a point of concern. The rapid advances of Russian forces and the growing challenges faced by Ukraine have pushed the conflict into its most volatile and uncertain phase yet. As Moscow tightens its grip on more territory, the outcome of this war hangs in the balance.
Moving on, there has been a shocking new twist in Russia's war strategy. After reportedly turning to North Korea for soldiers, Russia now seems to be recruiting fighters from Yemen. US intelligence reports suggest that Moscow is looking beyond its borders and enlisting Yemeni mercenaries to bolster its forces on the front lines. This comes as Russia struggles to maintain troop numbers amid heavy casualties on the battlefield. So, what does this now mean for Ukraine? Our next report tells you more.
A chilling and heart-wrenching story unfolds from the front lines of Russia's war in Ukraine. A tale of deception, coercion, and desperation. Moscow is recruiting hundreds of Yemeni men to fight on its behalf on the front lines with Ukraine, using fake promises and deceptive tactics. According to the Financial Times, these men are being lured to Russia with the promise of lucrative jobs and even Russian citizenship, only to find themselves forcibly conscripted into the Russian military and sent straight to the front lines in Ukraine. The operation is reportedly being coordinated through a shadow trafficking network involving the Houthi rebel group in Yemen. The recruits are sent to Russia under the guise of employment opportunities. However, once they arrive, many are coerced into signing contracts at gunpoint and thrust into active combat, often with little to no training. Over the past few months, NATO countries have confirmed that Russia has been seeking to bolster its forces with foreign mercenaries, pulling in fighters from impoverished nations across the world. US intelligence suggests Moscow is actively recruiting from nations like Yemen, North Korea, and several African and Asian countries to compensate for its high casualty rates. The recruitment of Yemeni men is part of a broader strategy by Russia to supplement its forces. This comes as casualties continue to mount in the nearly 3-year-long war. Reports suggest that Russia has suffered over 730,000 casualties. This also includes more than 115,000 deaths. In response, Moscow has turned to countries with struggling economies to fill the gaps in its ranks. The mass recruitment scheme highlights the increasingly desperate measures Moscow is willing to take to maintain its fighting force. It also underscores the growing ties between Russia and Iran, as the Kremlin has reportedly turned to Iran's proxies, including the Houthis, to facilitate these recruitment efforts. While the exact nature of Russia's deal with the Houthis remain unclear, Moscow has provided support to the group in the past, including sharing intelligence on Western targets in the Red Sea. The recruitment of Yemeni men raises serious ethical and legal questions. But what is clear is that Russia's strategy of using foreign mercenaries, many of whom have no stake in the war, is one of the latest and most disturbing developments in an already brutal conflict.
For almost a year now, Israel and Hezbollah have been locked in a fierce and devastating war across their shared border. It has left thousands dead and the region on the brink of disaster. But now, a glimmer of hope has emerged from this darkness. Israel's cabinet is set to vote on a potential ceasefire deal. The deal has already received the approval in principle from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So could this be the beginning of the end?
After months of intense fighting, a fragile hope emerges from the ashes of war. The sound of rockets and explosions may soon fall silent, at least for a time. Israel's cabinet is set to vote on a ceasefire deal brokered by the United States. This could bring a temporary halt to the violence that has ravaged Lebanon and sent shockwaves across West Asia. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already given his in-principle approval, marking a major step towards peace. Although, as always in this volatile region, peace may come at a steep price. But as talks near their conclusion, many questions remain. What's in the deal, and will it bring lasting peace or merely a pause in an ongoing and unpredictable conflict? The ceasefire agreement, if approved, would bring a 2-month halt to hostilities. This will allow Israeli forces to withdraw from southern Lebanon, while Hezbollah pulls back from its positions along the Litani River, just 18 miles from the Israeli border. But this temporary peace is conditional. In exchange, Hezbollah's armed presence will be replaced by Lebanese civilians and a United Nations peacekeeping force already stationed in the region. In theory, this would allow the thousands of displaced Lebanese civilians to return to their homes in towns and villages that were evacuated during the fighting. But this plan is fraught with complications, as both sides have expressed serious concerns over enforcement and violations of sovereignty. The heart of the deal is the establishment of an international monitoring committee. This will be led by the United States, with France playing a key role. This body would oversee the implementation of the ceasefire. However, crucial sticking points remain. Israel has made it clear that it reserves the right to strike any Hezbollah targets if they feel the group is violating the ceasefire terms. While the deal has been accepted in principle by Israel, the final approval rests with Netanyahu's cabinet, which is expected to vote on the agreement. But the path to peace is anything but smooth. While some Israeli officials support the deal, others see it as a dangerous compromise. National Security Minister Ben-Gvir has called the ceasefire a historic mistake. He argues that Hezbollah is far from defeated and that Israel should push for the complete eradication of the group. So now the question is, will this ceasefire bring peace or merely delay the inevitable? While a cessation of hostilities could provide much-needed relief for the civilians caught in the crossfire, it remains unclear whether Hezbollah will fully comply or if Israel will be forced back into military action down the line.
A startling shift is taking place in global military alliances. After China, another power is stepping in to arm Pakistan with cutting-edge weapons. But it's not Iran, the UAE, or Saudi Arabia. This unexpected new power is Turkey. With tensions already high in the region, this new partnership is raising questions about the future of military alliances and security in the region. So what is behind this shift? And why is Turkey arming Pakistan? Let's record this for you.
A new alliance in the defense sector promises to bolster the military might of Pakistan. This comes as Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan makes a significant move to strengthen the nation's defense capabilities. In a groundbreaking decision, Turkey has committed to providing vital support across multiple defense sectors. The country is partnering with Pakistan to enhance its military infrastructure. The partnership includes Turkish defense firm setting up production lines on Pakistani soil, an unprecedented step that marks a new chapter in military collaboration. One such Turkish firm, Ripcon, has already laid out plans to build a highly automated production line for 155mm artillery shells in Pakistan. But that's not all. The firm will also establish an explosive filling line capable of producing 120,000 units annually. This will be a major leap in Pakistan's defense capabilities. Ripcon, a leading defense company based in Istanbul, has already made its mark globally with a notable agreement with the US Department of Defense. Now, by joining forces with Pakistan's VA Industries Limited, Ripcon is expanding its global footprint, bringing advanced defense technologies and production expertise to Pakistan. VA Industries, on the other hand, is a key player in Pakistan's military supply chain. It has long been responsible for producing ammunition, arms, and military hardware for the Pakistani armed forces. This strategic partnership highlights the growing demand for Turkish defense technology and military equipment, as Turkish firms like Ripcon gain recognition worldwide for their advanced designs and production capabilities. As global demand for high-quality defense solutions rises, Turkey's collaboration with Pakistan could set the stage for further expansion into international markets. For Pakistan, this collaboration is more than just about strengthening its defense forces. It's about creating new opportunities in the global defense industry. The deal could lead to the creation of hundreds of jobs, boosting local economies and further cementing the bonds between the two nations.
Thank you so much for watching Crossfire with us here on India Today Global. You can catch the next episode tomorrow.